I caught the first few seconds of this video and I decided to make a blind react out of it. So let's watch it together, and I'm still going to edit this because I can't even trust my mouth. So let's figure it out, shall we? Let's go.
You have people who are going from relationship to relationship to relationship, worse, from job to job to job to job. And when I was younger, if you didn't like your job or if you didn't like your boss, the bad news was you had to stay there for a year, because if you left.
When he was younger, the first fallacy, right? In the good old times, when I was younger, we did it in such and such a way. Times have changed. Organizations have changed. Cultures have changed. Expectations have changed. Why wouldn't the nature of the relationship between the employee and the employer change? If anything, it would be a sign of the times that people leave a relationship that is no longer beneficial for either one of them, particularly the one that is in the receiving position, the employee, or both of them if the relationship is fundamentally weak to begin with. So, the good old times. Bullshit. But let's continue.
In anything less than a year, you would hurt your CV. They'd be like, why did you leave in under a year, And now
because it was a bad fit.
Particularly young people, there's no stigma to quitting. And it happens sometimes too quickly. Like if you're confrontation avoidant, and I've seen it happen, confrontation avoidant, I'm too afraid to ask my boss for a raise, so I just quit. I've seen it happen, right?
Why is that? Why would we be afraid to ask our boss for a raise? Because we have a culture of uncertainty, a culture of suppression, a culture of, no, you cannot ask for more money, because we have instilled in the fabric of your very existence that you're not worth the additional 5 cents, 10 cents, or perhaps the additional few days of PTO. It's an organizational issue. It is a power differential between the employer and the employee, with most states in the United States not having any workers' rights that are even remotely meaningful. So yeah, people are scared shitless to ask for more money, particularly when they need more money. One of the most significant issues that we're dealing with at work, in the workplace, stress. Because people can't make ends meet financially. That imposes stress that goes beyond the office walls. So yeah, of course, people need more money. But the employer is in the driver's seat to tell them, fuck yourself. You're not going to get a dime more out of me because we have a bottom line to meet. Moving on.
Or I've been here for 4 months. I don't like the culture. I quit. Right?
Yeah,
or I got in trouble at work. I hate my boss. I quit.
Yeah. There was that moniker, and perhaps it still is practiced in various organizations: hire slow, fire fast. Why is this a unilateral perspective? If the employee figures out the culture doesn't fit, get the fuck out. You are not paid enough to endure a culture that is providing ill to you. And here's the other thing. No matter the length of interview, no matter the process, no organization A is ever truly capable of expressing their culture to you. Even if you were to ask about the cultural stipulations within the organizations, the only way to figure it out is actually to get on the inside, to get hired, to live the culture within the organization, and then figure out whether this entire structure fits around you. And if after 1 month, 3 months, 4 months, 2 years, you realize the culture is not what it was supposed to be, or it has changed throughout the course of time and it is no longer a fit for you. Now, notice fit, not benefit, fit. Get the hell out. You don't owe them anything, particularly with the aforementioned, oh, well, I don't want to ask for a raise because I'm scared shitless. And if that makes for a shorter line item on your resume, explain that the culture wasn't a good fit and you were not able to provide the organization with the best possible work that you could put forth because the structure was simply not there. Now, some organizations will frown on that. Absolutely no doubt, no question about it. HR people are going to be bending over backwards to basically scream in your face that you're an idiot. But here's the thing. Those who understand will value transparency, honesty, and candor, and recognize that you're capable of actually describing what fits and what doesn't fit in a world that is completely just absent of descriptors as to what organizational culture is. Moving on.
And so people are quitting so much. My fear, like I don't mind if something's super toxic, get the heck out of there. Most places are not super toxic. Imperfect, yes. But toxicity is like there's a standard, and it's a high bar. And
is that so? How can we generalize toxicity? If something doesn't work for you, whether it is toxic or not, get out. This is not a how much can I endure? How much negativity can I load on my shoulders to prove that I'm worthy, particularly in the absence of actual function of organizational culture that is supportive to you. No, if it doesn't fit, toxicity level disregarded, get out. Of course, get out when you have another job lined up. Don't put yourself in the in-between category of, yeah, I've left and I've got nothing else lined up. Be smart about it, but still get the hell out if it's not a fit.
Or this doesn't fit my values, or this doesn't agree with my politics, I quit. My fear is that if we flash forward 5 years, there's going to be a disproportionately high number of people who have 8 jobs in 5 years. And what's going to happen is an employer is going to look at them and be like, I can't take the risk that you're going to stick around. I'm not hiring you. You sound like an amazing candidate, but you're too high risk for me. And because you've had so many jobs over such a short period of time, you actually haven't stuck around long enough to build up a skill set or know what it's like to manage a storm, because you've stuck around in the good times and bailed in the bad times. And so you have now been in the workforce for 5 years, but you don't have 5 years of work experience. You have 4 months of work experience. And so...
Wow. No, you've been in the workforce for 5 years, you have 5 years work experience. You may not have the work experience that the employer is looking for, at which point you're already a bad fit, or the employer is a bad fit for you. So no, this would likely be a scenario that leads to job number 6 in 5 years. It doesn't even take a rocket scientist to fucking figure this out. But more importantly, everything that Simon just said goes back to job embeddedness. It's a theory that comes out of 2001, Mitchell et al., and the theory essentially depicts on not why people leave, but how can we make people stay. The greater the inclusion at work, the lesser the sacrifice, leaving home, leaving the values that are dear to you behind to contribute to the organizational culture and structure and bottom line and whatever else you want to throw into this, that sacrifice has to be adequately compensated. And then, of course, fit has to be the basic layer. Do you fit with the job? But most importantly, does the organization fit with you? So, Simon, it is exhausting, because unfortunately, this once again is this low level, like level 1, level 2 out of 5 gaslighting of employees, where it's like, oh, you want to leave because you are not willing to be loyal to the company? Show me an organization in the United States that's loyal to its employees. Maybe there are a few, the majority are not. No, unless we have bilateral loyalty, an absolute valuation of the employee, and the full focus on fit, sacrifice, and links where the employee actually is embedded within the organization, no, absolutely not. It doesn't fit for you, find something else, make the transition. That's it, simple as that. And Simon, turn the gas burner off. And if you're still with me at this point in time, what is my background and why am I even qualified to talk about the perspective of Simon Sinek? My background is, and I hate to talk about myself, I'm an org psych, which means I particularly look at organizations, organizational behavior, and how leadership steers organizations frequently in the wrong directions. So comments and segments like Simon Sinek, who are otherwise really value, just really get an internal reaction from me, because at the end of the day, from an organizational psychological perspective, it has to be at all times about the employee before anyone else. That includes the customer, that includes the bottom line, and that includes first and foremost the shareholder. If it's not the employee, it's bust. That's my perspective as an org psych. Take it for what it's worth.